Howdy y'all, Texan Grotto here. This here is my paint bit tutorial for a Space Marine. Now we already have them primed black, and these are my materials right here. You'll see them right here. This is what I'm gonna be using. Now first things first, I know you don't need the best materials to paint. This is what I use. This is a 66OE pure gold folk art. I found this in Walmart. It is a metallic acrylic paint. Has a little like glitter in it. Next up, I have Citadel Color Base Macragge Blue, and a Teclix Blue. Alongside that, I have Corax White. These are all base colors, by the way. I have Moot Green, and lastly, I have Mephiston Red. Oh, I also have a jar of water, and of course a paint palette. For my brushes, I have these Fine Touch. These are just brushes I found from Hobby Lobby. You don't need nothing too crazy. I'm gonna only be using 3 of these brushes. In fact, I'll be using 2 round 1s and a round 6. You'll see that why in a second. And of course we have our Space Marine primed black. Believe me, priming black is, for me, is a pretty good deal. And I'll tell you why in just a second. But for now, that's all the materials that I have. That's all I need. That's all I'm going to use. I will pop them back up throughout the video. Just make sure you have your miniature already primed and ready to paint. Now then, based off those colors, I will be painting a Crimson Fist. Now, if you don't know much about the Crimson Fist, don't worry. It's a sub-faction of Rogel Dorn, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Rogel Dorn? Yeah, because Lehman Russ is it's Rogel Dorn. So we're going to go ahead and start with the Macragge Blue base. Like I said, this is just to get some color on it. Make sure that I have just basically get some blue on the model. Yeah, because Lehman Russ, he's the Space Wolves guy. Rogel Dorn, he's the Iron, no, not Iron. Imperial Fists. So, Crimson Fists are a sub-faction of Imperial Fists, and I don't know. You see, the thing is, when I was painting Space Marines, I was like, okay, I know I want a color that's blue, but I don't want Ultramarines. So I was like, okay, you know what, we'll do Crimson Fists. They have a decent amount of lore, though honestly I haven't looked in too much deep into it. I just know that they're loyalists that aren't as, you know, Boy Scout as Ultramarines, but they do have their own perks. Now granted, they did lose their home world to an orc invasion, which I think kind of explains why I like them, because one thing about the Imperial Guard, they're always facing off with the orcs, especially with what is it, Yark and shoot, I'm not the best with the lore, honestly. I'm more of the miniatures. So, an important thing is to make sure you have, right here, as you can see, make sure you have your paints thinned. Now, I'm not the best at keeping my paints thinned, but what I do is I have my brush wet. I don't have a wet palette. I do have the dry palette, but I don't use it too much. So here you can see I have blue. I just put blue on it. You know, it's kind of messy, not the best, a little streaky, but you can tell, hey, there's blue on the model. I'm gonna go ahead and fix all that up in just a sec. This is just to go ahead and show you the current progress. This is where I swap over to my round 1, and I'll start going for some of those more those details. Seems like I forgot to keep it in the frame. Hey, come on, bring it back. No, yeah, there we go. Okay. Bring it back in frame, getting those finer details, going over some of my handiwork, and making sure I have a steady blue all across where I want it. I'm taking extra precaution to avoid the trims and just making sure I keep everything nice and neat. Again, I don't use a wet palette. I don't really use a dry palette. I'll use a dry palette for the metallics, or if I don't have like the little pots. But for the most part, I'll just use it straight from the pot, and I'll make sure my brush is wet and I use very little paint. That's the way how I thin my paints. Granted, might not be the best. So here we are, getting a little bit more of the details. Now throughout the video, I'll probably touch up a couple areas. You'll see some areas get touched up, but overall, this is what I like to see. It's a nice solid blue paint all across the Space Marine, leaving the gauntlets blank, or black I mean, because that is where we're going to do the fists that are crimson. Thus the name, Crimson Fists. I do have, of course, the trimming and the Aquila still, well, it's not really the Aquila, the Space Marine chest piece. I think it is the Aquila, isn't it? What is that? Leave it in the comments if you know. I left that blank, or black, because I will be using Mephiston Red right there. I'll use Mephiston Red to paint it. So just pointing that out right there, and so it's gonna be the chest piece, the trim, and the gauntlets. They're gonna be red, Mephiston Red to be precise. And here we go. Now with a steady hand, I'm gonna start painting the trim. There we go. So why Space Marines and why Crimson Fists? So if you don't know, well, you probably don't, but I like playing Imperial Guard. That was the first army I picked up. I like the whole army aesthetic. I like the whole, hey, they're normal dudes in a horrible, horrible place, but yet despite all that, they still somehow get victories. So this is an example of my painting technique right here. Dab a little bit, wipe it off, wipe it off, wipe it off, wipe it off, and we're good to go. Just a little replay, get a better shot, very little paint, wipe off all the excess I can, close it, and we're off to the races. Now, the thing about my Astra Militarum paint job is a lot of my Astra Militarums are green. Now, that's not a problem. The problem is I wanted a second army so I could fight myself, and my favorite color is green, so I can't do salamanders, I can't do, you know, anything that's green. So I needed something that contrasted so I won't accidentally pick up a Space Marine and say, hey, that's an Imperial Guardsman. Nope. So I did blue, which is not exactly the opposite of red, but you know, it's not exactly green. Now, as for the Crimson Fists, like I said before, I really didn't want something basic like Ultramarines. I did like the blue color, but I didn't want Ultramarines. Ultramarines were just a little bit too basic, you know. I'm all for standard stuff, but I don't know, Ultramarines too basic for me. So instead I went with something a little different, and that was the Imperial Fists. Crimson Fists. Now granted, everyone who is anyone has already made their own chapter, you know. Oh, hey, mine are the Screaming Hawks. Mine are the, well, I mean, technically the Minotaurs are actually a real thing. But, you know, everyone's made their own personal thing. And I've been thinking about that for a while. I have something cooking about that. I have this idea. See, I'm not sure. Now, again, I like the blue color. And I've grown to like the red on blue. Very Mario-esque, you know? Very much Mario. It's giving Mario. The problem is, that's already the Crimson Fists. That's their thing already. So, what I was thinking is, I'll do so there's the whole Alfarius Legion. I can't remember what it's called. Oh, wait, before I say that, here we are. All the details have been finished. I did it off camera because, believe me, painting in front of a camera is just a little bit difficult. I was sure to make sure to get all the red edging, all the gauntlets, the greaves, well, not the greaves, but get the fists, make them nice and red, make it a good thick coat. Well, not thick, but make it a good even coat. So you have like the, I can't remember what they're called, but you know, you have Alfarius, and his Altharius doppelgangers. Well, they're not really doppelgangers, they're all Altharius. Oh my gosh, I'm getting myself confused. Point being, something like that, but more for sure loyalist. Because I know they have a little thing. There's some that are loyalists, there's some that aren't loyalists. It's just the whole thing. So right here, we're going to go ahead and pick up our pure gold folk art. I kind of messed up, accidentally used a silver that I did not mean to use, and my thumb decides to make a cameo. But we'll just go ahead and make sure to, you know, get a good layer. Hopefully get some good shots too. So that's my whole idea. It's going to be a more for sure loyalist, where the whole idea is they look like other chapters, but they because the whole thing is like, oh, it's only 1,000 guys per legion, and it's only 1,000 guys per legion. It's only 1,000 guys per legion. So what are they gonna do once they leave? Hand it over to Ashmantarum? Yes. But I thought, hey, why not have Space Marines that kind of handle that transition? And so that's what they are. I call them the cuttlefish because, you know, the whole color swap thing. And they have all the shiny toys, but the thing is, they have no scratches, no dents, etc., because they never get to use them. True bureaucrats, right? That's my idea. They're called the cuttlefish. I'm not sure the whole idea behind them, but for now, I have the name and I have the idea. I feel like that's good enough. Getting back to the painting here, we're making sure getting a good even gold coat across everything, making sure to get in nice to those edges. Now for me, I've always noticed gold metallics on black make a good like effect. It looks like a dark, rich gold. Especially with the gold that I use, the one I found at Walmart, which is pretty good for being at Walmart, if I say so myself. And I think that's almost it. The thing that I'm missing now are the eyes. Let's just go ahead and get a quick turnaround. Now, as you can see, we have almost everything done. We just need the eyes. Now for the eyes, I'm going to do a little technique where first I paint them white and then I paint them green, the moot green. So here we go. I'm going to go and paint them Corax white. It's kind of difficult, not going to lie. Oh wait, my bad. Forgot. Highlights. Now granted, technically I could leave it like this. It has 3 colors, which is tabletop ready. But I personally like to add this kind of comic book-esque highlight. You'll see it right here. So the whole idea with this here, if I can get it good, well, we'll speed right through it. So the whole idea here is it's like this: you hit the curves and you hit the highlights. So anywhere, like it's like an edge highlight type thing. Keeping sure to hit the curves, hit anywhere the sun would hit, hitting edges. You know, it's like a general highlight. I don't like having it blended too much. I like having it stand out. It gives it kind of like a certain style that I'm really fond of. You'll see it right here a little bit clearer as soon as I, give you a little spin around. But I generally hit the tops of stuff. You know, anywhere that again it hits the sun will hit the knees. I know I'm gonna hit the knees right now. There we go. Yeah, top of the knees, top of the joints, top of any little balls, little circles. And it just, I don't know, I feel like it gives it a certain style. Almost cell shaded, but not quite, because cell shaded is a little bit more advanced, but it gives it like a very basic cell shading type of style, I think. It's a style I've grown fond of. This is the 5th, I think, 5th or 6th I've done in this style. Anyway, you can see it right here. I personally really like it. It gives it a little bit of contrast. You see a little bit of the edging. I feel like this time I did a little bit messy, but it always looks pretty good, I think, despite this. I'll tell you this much. painting on camera, that's pretty difficult. So giving you a little turnaround, making sure you see everything. Now I think we're gonna hit into the eyes. Yep, here we go. Nope. This is me showing you that it's Techless Blue. So, there we go. I'm going to use Korax White base and Moot Green for the eyes here. This is going to be the Korax first and then the Moot, just to make sure it has a good bright undertone. Here we go with Movie Magic, painted it white. I know it looks terrible. Don't even tell me. I know it looks terrible. But as soon as I'm done painting it, quote unquote painting it, we'll switch over to the Moot Green, dab a little bit on there, just like oh, Movie Magic, let's go. Green. Okay, so as you can tell, it's a little bit messy. I will not deny that much. It's very messy. It's almost like he's crying. Looks terrible, right? But what you do, you get your blue that you used for the face, well, whatever color you use for the face, and you just go ahead and clean that up. We'll go ahead and clean that up off camera after adjusting the light, just so y'all can see how terrible it looks. But one thing I do like is how bright it looks. Because of the white that's under, it looks a lot brighter. I feel like it looks a lot, no, not cleaner, but it looks a lot brighter. The color comes out fuller, and it gives a good effect, almost a glowing effect. If I had a spray gun, no, what are they called? Compressor, the air. Anyway, so here you can see I cleaned it up just a bit. Go on, give me a little turn. Face towards the camera. And it's clean. Would you look at that? Oh, I cleaned up all the edges of the face. All I did was I went over the face with some of the Macarg blue, making sure to cover up any mistakes that I made with the eyes. And that way the eyes look nice and clean. Not a single problem there. Perfect. It's at this point that I'm pretty sure we're just about finished with the miniature. I think the only thing that needs to be done is a couple of touch-ups, which we're going to do right now. And I think we're done. More or less, that's how this miniature is going to stay. And yeah. All that's left is the final, little turnaround. Anyway, as that comes around, I just want to go ahead and let y'all, tell y'all, thank you for watching. Thank you for following, subscribing. Hey, it's pretty great. I said I was going to do this, and here it is. This is something I wanted to try out. It's something I'd say a little bit more difficult to do than just doing a stream and posting that stream. I put a lot of effort. I love painting miniatures, and I'm just happy to share that with y'all. And I hope y'all enjoyed watching me paint this miniature. Without further ado, I hope you like, follow, subscribe, all that jazz. Again, this was really fun. You see all the little details, a bunch of little mistakes, but I like to call them a lot of character. Yeah, a lot of character. It still looks a little messy on the under eye, on the right eye, but overall, that's why I like the black a lot better. It hides those mistakes. It looks more like paint chipping. But there it is, nice and clean. A Crimson Fist with red edging and some cool blue highlights.